James Wandes. This is my 3,000th video, wine video. So stay tuned and I'll give you some thoughts, perspectives, and some thank yous. So stay tuned. So thank you so much for your support. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for subscribing. And if you haven't done so already, please consider doing so. You'll see the latest videos that I'm producing. So here we go. A big thank you and cheers to you who are watching my video. And for those of you who have subscribed and have also really, promoted my videos, as well as just supported me in terms of your questions, comments, and sharing the videos that I do produce. So thank you so much. Grazie, molto grazie to you. Merci beaucoup. Muchas gracias. And thank you. Dankeschön. There's so many ways of saying thank you and to say cheers. And, to me, there's only one way of doing that, and that's to give a video. Now, I didn't get to the number 3,000 just because, I must get to 3,000. Or I want to compete against maybe Charles Trippy, who at the time, he retired in 2019 from video production. He did, I think, 3,490 something videos in a row, per day rather. And so he held the world's record on that. My goal is not to necessarily exceed that. If I do, that's great. If I don't, that's fine too. I do, as I said earlier, please subscribe to this channel. So there's no sense that I'm leaving this space because I very much enjoy it. And over time, I've learned to think about this category very differently. It's very endearing to me. I love video and I love wine. So it's a really nice combination of these two. And when I thought maybe the virtual wine tastings were going away in 2019 because they declined so much, say from maybe 2010, 2011, 2012, early part of the decade, and I thought for certain it's going away, but we have this pandemic that we're still under and things haven't changed dramatically. Hopefully we will have a vaccine that will help us to be, out and about in the world again, to travel the world and to enjoy being in the world. I think this product is so unique. So by the way, this is a Charles Heidsieck Rosé Reserve. So I'll talk about this wine in this video right up here in the YouTube cards. I think to me it's really important. I love this wine, and it's really the special wine that I wanted to hallmark this particular 3,000th episode. I think 3,000 is something that I didn't intend on doing, and something that when I think about it, if I didn't like doing it, I wouldn't have done this many videos. And the category itself, wine, really stretches itself to being in this category. And I've also said that I think a lot of YouTube consumers out there don't know that a lot of content exists because you can enter in a specific wine you're thinking about. I don't know how many specific wines are created per year. My guess has always been in the 100 to 150,000 range. It could be more. I doubt it's less. And if you look over a 10-year period, especially for wines at vintage, of course, some wines like this wine is non-vintage. Multiples of wines are a vintageable product. And so I would say 90-95% are vintage products. So if you look at that number, even a conservative number, 100,000 times 10 over 10 years is 1 million different wines. So there's never a point where all these wines are going to be covered on this channel. And I think to me it's important to highlight, to bring this out, and to think about. I've been having my critics who've said, oh, well, one person said to me at a wine event, oh, are you still doing those videos? And it was really, kind of hurtful in a way because it was like, talking down to my media. I almost said, are you still doing those blog posts? But I took a different approach on that. So it's important to think about this category. It's important to think about how, maybe bringing wine education, and I'm doing more of that. I'll do more of that in the future. So maybe pulling back on some wine reviews, not all of them, and maybe doing more on my podcast. Yes, I do podcasts in addition, because I think in this world that we are in today, 2020, pandemic or not, we have to be, as a wine journalist, me as a wine journalist, I have to be more willing to think about other medias, not just the video media. So not to think just about the spoken word, not to think just about the video word, or not just to think about the written word. So it's about a combination of the three. Very important to think about. And also, fourthly, I might add, if you do this in person. So if I do a live wine tasting, which I've done in the past, it's important to think about this in terms of, talking about wine, making it accessible to everyone, finding the beauty and amazing stories in wine, because there are many, especially in this class here. And Champagne, to me, it's just an alluring, beautiful, wonderful place to have visited, which I hope to visit much more often in the future. And I hope that's really soon. And to me, it's important to think about this category. Some people have said to me, oh, is champagne wine? Well, yes, it is. And, you know, it's really to bring down some snobbery. So to give fluency to everyone who wants to talk about wine, who wants to think about this beautiful, magical art form that is, you know, culinary distinction as well as a religious distinction for part of the ceremony. And it does hallmark some important things. It's one of the oldest beverages on the planet. So we get better wines year over year. Also, to think about wine as a precious thing, unlike, say, maybe a distilled beverage or one that is, you know, dependent on grains. This is really dependent on the earth, you know, responding favorably to a wine grape grower on a yearly basis. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So in the story of champagne, there is a story there, which is, you know, every year over year is not dependable. Hence, there's no vintages consecutively in a decade period. And I don't see that happening anytime soon. But going back to this wine experience, going back to this capability of speaking directly to you, and also to make the distinction point that the 3000 video was just not to make a video on a particular wine. I really just wanted to talk about this because this is part of my vlog series anyway. Some of you out there have been requesting that, thinking about me talking about subject matters that I very much enjoy and like talking about. So I think that especially in 2020, there's going to be, you know, obviously more virtual wine tastings, especially as we enter in the winter season in the Northern Hemisphere. And that's going to hopefully allow people to stay connected. I'm not so worried that wine will not exist, or that, you know, I am worried, of course, about smaller producers in the wine, beer, and spirits world, as other, you know, maybe the food producer world as well. So there's many, you know, sensitive categories, and there's a way to participate, and that's just simply by making a purchase from producers, especially the smaller producers and thoughtful producers. So to me, this is a wonderful thing to think about. Think about wine as about vintage. It's about variation. That is, you know, every year is different. Variety, so many, you know, 10,600 varieties plus. And to think about, you know, how this is an amazing, alluring beverage that, you know, has so many different stylizations and different focuses and different ways of enjoying this. So if you have questions and comments, list them down below, but also list, you know, subject matters you're interested in. I'd like to know that as well. Your favorite wines, your favorite champagnes, for example. And I want to thank you so much for watching today. Thank you, and I will see you in the next video. Let's stay connected. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and WordPress. Additionally, you'll find me on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. So many ways of saying I appreciate it. Cheers, salud, santé, salute, prost, živeli, and there's so many other ways of saying cheers. Thank you so much, and again, I will see you real soon.